Okay, we are live, everybody. This is the amazing Nikie Piper, a fantastic client of mine who I'm not quite sure how we met, but we've been on quite the journey. And we have, haven't we? And we've just worked through so many things. And I think that's really powerful. So Nikki's like probably my favourite example of someone who's got no idea how good they are, who like just likes to keep everything small, keep everything quiet, do everything behind the scenes. So I've been slowly pushing her, kicking and screaming out of her comfort zone and into things like this. So welcome, Nikie. How are you feeling?
Thank you. Not nervous at all, but
not a sausage, not nervous at all, which is amazing. No. Don't be nervous. I mean, before we even get started, the thing that people probably won't know, because you don't tell people enough, is that you're like right-hand woman for Mike Dooley, right?
I do some work with infinite possibilities. I wouldn't say I'm the right hand woman because there are lots of us, but yes,
one of many wonderful right hand people to Mike Dooley's team. So if you don't know Mike, check him out. His
amazing stuff.
Is that right?
Yeah, the universe talks, and I imagine quite a lot of people get the notes from the universe.
Yes.
And yeah, he's absolutely amazing. The team and everybody's amazing. They've got another thing coming up in September as well. So
yeah, and will you be coaching them?
I might do. It depends because it might coincide with my holiday.
Love that.
Which is inconsiderate, really.
Might be crewing, Mike, or might not, which I love. Okay, so Nikie, as I titled her the Journaling Queen. Tell us about journaling and you, Nikie.
Journaling and me. Well, journaling and me have had a pretty long journey, pretty resistant journey, actually. It was something that I'd sort of heard a lot about when I first entered the personal development world, which I think from memory was about 2017, and I really wasn't in a good place. I had an awful lot of debt, about £70,000 worth of debt. I was in a job that wasn't paying me enough money to pay my bills. I was deeply depressed, and just really not in a very good place. And joining the personal development world, because there's a lot of things that you learn quite quickly, and one of them was like, all the people that are doing things that are getting on in the world journal. What is this journaling lark? And I was in such a difficult place. I don't want to dwell on it too much, but I was in such a difficult place. I didn't have the money to buy a journal, but one had made its way with me when I moved into my flat. And I had such a love-hate relationship with that journal because it was so pretty, but I didn't want to write in it. But it wasn't the fact that it was pretty that I didn't want to write in it. It was the fact that I didn't know what I wanted to write. It was the fact that I knew that it would be really good for me and that it could really help me, but I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do with it. And it was just this pretty book that sat in the corner of my front room, just sort of staring at me every day. So I did eventually, obviously, pick it up. But it was so sporadic right at the beginning. And basically the only thing I did with it was cry on it and write out how bad I felt. That was really all I did with it.
Day one of journaling, crying and writing how bad we feel, basically.
Exactly. And it took me probably several months to realise that actually, whenever I picked that journal up and wrote in it, I felt better.
Even if you're writing the negative things down, going out.
And then there was a little step from there as to, well, if I write down basically how rubbish I'm feeling, what about if I started writing how I really wanted to feel instead? So then I discovered a bit of a transition, and then I started to think, maybe I should take a look at this journaling lark a bit more seriously. And and like I said, I couldn't afford to buy journals or post-its or anything like that. So, I used scraps of paper. Didn't actually use all of that journal because it was a bit pretty and it was a bit big and it didn't feel right because it actually wasn't right. It moved home with me.
Yeah.
Put it that way. And yeah, so then I made that leap from connecting the dots, but it didn't mean that I did it every day. In fact, far from it. I didn't do it every day. Maybe once a week if I was lucky. I had such resistance to picking up a journal.
Yeah, you didn't just suddenly start journaling and become, oh my God, journaling's amazing, and journal every day, changed my life instantly. It wasn't like that. It was a bit more sticky and
Yeah.
slow. And
It really was a journey, because I think somewhere in your subconscious, that when you start writing, it's actually going to start creating change. And that's one of the things that I say to people when they're learning to journal. What do I write is the biggest thing that I get. And I get it. I've been there. But it's not about what you write, it's about what you want to create. So
yes.
journaling is all about what you want to create. So it doesn't matter what you're using it for, whether you're emotional mess, whether you're trying to find a new job, whether you want a new relationship, you whether you're journaling it for your business. You can journal it, on behalf of your business, for your business. You can journal it for yourself. You can do so much with it. And that was the journey that I embarked around about 2017. And I had my very first coach, I think, was back in 2018, which started obviously a succession of entering into the coaching world. And the first thing he wanted me to do was to journal every day. Oh my God, I think the entire 12 weeks it probably was spent actually just trying to get me to pick up the journal. And look at celebrating myself and all the things I'd gone and just making that transformation, which might sound a bit weird, especially when you consider the context that I signed up with that coach was to learn how to trade. I actually didn't have it, but I'm so grateful for that journey though, because it gave me such an insight into the power of journaling. And those 12 weeks were a real transition. And he was right. It is about mindset, the trading side of it. And I wasn't in a good place to be trading,
Oh, interesting.
despite the fact that I had no money anyway. So yeah, so from there I started making my own journals, because he gave me a series of prompts and things. So I created it in Excel.
Yes, that's how you started, wasn't it? You created scraps of paper, and then we went into Excel spreadsheets, because you're IT by trade originally, weren't you?
I
So
am, yeah, been in IT and project management for more years than I care to remember. Probably getting on for about 30, perhaps, maybe. Yeah. So so it didn't take me long to work out, how to duplicate it all and, get some things running to make it nice and easy for me and automatically update dates, etc., etc. But then I wanted a little bit more. And I think I was moving somewhere at the time as well. So I can't remember the exact process, but I ended up trying to recreate it in Word. And, whilst I am extremely IT literate, and application literate as well, obviously that's my job, trying to format something in Word that had images and then starting to move on to create my own journal, because I wanted a proper journal to print it. And then the whole journey around that, it was such a journey to find out the supplier I have now, and the conversations that I had with people, the different people that wanted thousands and thousands of pounds to sort of format something for me, to get it online, to the conversations that I had is, I want it spiral bound. Oh no, we can't do that. Well,
yes.
that's my niche. That's what I want, and that's what I made, because that's what I need. And I think if you're using a journal, and you may like the softback or the hardback versions, that's perfectly fine. But for me, I want to be able to lie it flat, fold it over, write on both sides, get right to the edge of the paper, because these days I write a lot, not just that I feel crap. And yeah, and that's where it came. So there was a very long journey between learning how to get that into a Word document, to get that formatted, to find the supplier that I use now that wasn't Amazon, because that was one of my criteria. I didn't want to use Amazon, although some of my journals are on Amazon at the moment, because let's face it, that's where the world goes, isn't it? But they don't do spiral print on demand, so there's a need there somewhere. And I came across a supplier that I do. Basically, I bought a couple of books on how to publish and whatever, and it came with inspiration. So that's a very potted version of how I got to be creating journals and my own love-hate relationship with
Again, like when I think of you, I automatically go to spiral bound journals because of all the reasons you just said. I feel like I've had loads of journals, got one here, that I never write in because I can't lie in flats and I can't remember where I'm up to and blah, blah, right? Whereas the spiral bound, I was like, oh yeah, you can rip pages out. It's not going to cause a massive problem. You can have both sides open at one side. You can, like you say, front and back. I was like, oh yeah, this is different to me. Feels different. I love a spiral bound. Like I always have spiral bound. Like even my notebooks have to be spiral bound, right? It's just a thing that I have. So when I saw your journals, I was like, oh, I've never even seen a spiral bound journal before. So that was really, and that was one of the things we talked about, wasn't it? We were like, this should be your thing. Yes, you can do all the other types of journals, but this should be like almost like your signature thing is that you create these spiral bound journals. Now I know you've created loads for yourself, and we're going to go into about how you're doing it for the people next. But tell me about what journaling's done for you, and what you think it could do for people's clients if they had a journal for their business.
Oh, lots of questions in that one sentence. What has it done for me? So basically, it's given me a sense of purpose. So I created two things I use my journal for. So when I started, it was basically just logging how rubbish I felt and whether I actually made any changes and whether it was actually worth staying alive, to be perfectly honest, because I was at that point. So what has it done for me? Basically, I think it's kept me alive there. And then from there, from documenting feeling so rubbish to realizing that actually if I wrote out how I would rather feel, that made me feel a lot better. And then realizing that actually if I did it a bit more often, it would make me feel better more often on a regular basis. And then you get the compound effect. And then it wasn't a million-mile leap to go from there to actually starting to create my perfect life. So from there, basically I created, the IT role that I have and the income that I have now through that. One of the powerful things about writing things down is that it gets into your subconscious. And I just digress just very slightly, because one of the things I wanted to do was to actually write out what my ideal life would look like. All the things that I wanted in it. I had no idea what I was going to be doing, to be perfectly honest, but I knew that I wanted something different. I knew how I wanted to feel, and I knew kind of the things that I wanted to be doing. But as to what type of job or role or anything like that, no idea. And I was learning new skills at the time, creating websites, basically, outside of my very poorly paid other job. But I didn't have enough time to sit and write out and spend some time in my journal and imagine my perfect life, and sit and tear my hair out writing, learning how to create websites. So I did both. So I actually created my very first website based on a company which actually does still exist. It's what a contract through my IT work through, but based on what that might look like. And then I think it was probably around about 2019. It was before lockdown anyway. I had a reminder for the renewal of the domain, and I'd completely forgotten all about it. And I went there, and everything that I'd written about creating journals, about getting out there, about speaking to people, about living in freedom, about living in the country, about working from home, about all the things that I wanted, and obviously the bigger income and stuff like that. And the bottom line was that basically for me, it created not only my life, but what I do now. And So it's extremely powerful. When I look back, I went through that website deciding actually I might just renew the domain. Um, oh my God, this is real, and this is happening, and this is happening, and this is happening. Oh, we haven't quite done that bit yet, but we're getting there, and we're on the road to that bit. And it's like, wow,
I love that.
absolutely wow. So yeah, then I started to take it a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, you see the evidence in front of you. Janet's just saying I need to use my mic, but I do have a mic. But maybe it was a bit far away. So like it is amazing. Like when I first started to manifesting, I was kind of like, I'll just go along with this. Let's see what happens. And it is weird. It's so weird when you find old books and old notes. Like I'm looking at it if it's over there, but like I have a whiteboard vision board now, and things move and change and all the rest of it. But when I look back on some of the stuff that I had for years, even things like getting married again and stuff like that, where you just think, I just don't think I'm gonna, deep down, am I gonna have a big white wedding the second time around? Is that gonna happen? And obviously I did a proper church white wedding, but so many things had to happen for that to happen, you know. I ended up getting christened in my 40s, and then I met Stu, and then the church christened me, and so I had a big church do and a big white dress and all the rest of it. And it's kind of like when I cut out getting married in a church white dress, it just seemed a million miles away. I was divorced, I've been married before, and but you just think, well, I think I would really like that, but you can't see how it's going to happen. And then when you look back, you're like, oh yeah, I just decided that was what's going to happen, and it happened. But without that clarity, I wouldn't have probably taken the steps I took to get what I wanted, right?
Yeah, because it's just subconscious at work, because you've written it down and you've got your left brain, right brain thing going on, so they're both working at the same time when you're journaling and writing and things like that. So it imprints into your subconscious a lot more that way. And then as you're starting to take action, subconsciously you're aware of what you've written down.
Yes.
And you're taking steps towards it, whether you realize it or not.
Yes. So let's talk about so one of the reasons we're talking today is because I am one of your newest clients. You are going to be creating a journal for my clients. So what that means is I will have a branded journal for my audience to buy if they so wish, that they can buy, and then you can use that journal to journal, obviously. But it'll be branded for my company. It'll have my contact details in, and it'll also have some of my quotes, if you like, sprinkled throughout it. And I know why I wanted it, but why do you think it's a really important business tool to have for people?
Because it just puts you front of mind, so if you think of your own branded stuff, and you're giving them to people, or even selling them, it's there, your contact details are there, your front of mind, your sayings, if you want quotes within it, your sayings are right there, and people can hear your voice when you've got that quote right there. They can actually hear you saying it, reminding them of how it works. So that would be my biggest one. It's front of mind, it's a physical product, and these days people don't want to spend forever sat in front of a computer having to look up things. So it takes you out of that, and just so front of mind, basically. It's like the fridge magnet, isn't it? It's right there, it's a physical product. I made a whole list, which, because I'm now live, is like escaping me.
Yeah, right. Susan's in the audience. She's saying and Susan's a big friend of the family. Lots of love for Susan. But yeah, let's just been talking about this. I'd love to create the Business of Stories journal, right? So Susan's got amazing, business, an amazing audience who are really engaged. She does 5-day challenges like I do. She has a really specific sort of thing that she teaches, just like I do. So Susan, obviously, you're going to be hitting Nikie up, right? Because for me, the reason I want to do it is because I have so much free content that people can download and watch, but it's all in the screen. It's all in the screen. And we have dabbled with various different things, but the thing that people say to me all the time is, it's like you're in my head. So because my structure of what I teach is very simple, it's about taking action, it's about being consistent, it's about doing things every day, then I'd really like people to have that reminder on their desk. So physically on their desk, near their computer, and if they want to make notes in there about what's going on, why they're not doing the things, or what they feel like stopping them, or what they want to do the work for. So one of the things that I talk a lot about in my training is all about creating a home for your money, about understanding what it is, why you want to do what you're doing, about the mission that you're on, about the ripple effect of the work that you do. And these are all really powerful things to journal on. And I know that people come to my training and they take notes, and then those notes will just disappear. Of course they will. But I think for me, having something that they can go and buy that's blank for their use, but that's something that they can have as almost like their own guide to implement in my work, and it'll have me on it, and it'll remind them, they'll have my voice in their head, which I think a lot of people do anyway, but I think that shortcuts a lot. So I think maybe a lot of people in my world have watched me for maybe years to get me in their head, in their hearts and minds. Whereas I think maybe if they have a journal of mine on their desk, it maybe shortcut that a little bit and just remind them that when they are feeling stuck or they are feeling overwhelmed, then that's the place to go and journal on it. But obviously I'll be there. If not in spirit, then I'll be there on the journal, to support them.
And it would be, it's almost like that journal's going to be talking to them, because your brand will be associated with you, and people will, as I said, people will hear your voice. So yeah, absolutely. And I found my list now. So,
what else is on your list, Nikie?
So best place to go was my website, really, because it's all up. So just go and hoist it from there. So personal branding. So you've got your professional presentation as well. So obviously these days we're getting out more and more networking, you can take them with you. So you could actually sell them while you're out, or you could actually use them to promote yourself. You could actually use them while you're doing a talk, while you're doing your 1 minute or your 2 minute pitch. So, you've got some professional presentation there as well. Authority building. So, it puts you, like I said, forefront of people's minds, but also, it subconsciously, I think people connect that, you've got a book, or you've got a journal, or you've got some kind of something solid that gives you some authority, and it positions you differently in your field, doesn't it? With the one that we're talking about today, brand consistency. So, bringing it right through from, all of your other marketing assets. Creating differentiation. Can't speak this word. Say this word, differentiation. There we go. And brand recognition. Networking, we've said, and networking collaboration. Marketing promotional. And if you've got employees as well, could be good to hand them out to the employees and the team.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could also think about how my business operates. We could use it as like prizes to give away in things like the challenge. We could send them to people, who, I don't know, feel like, just send a gift to, etc. So there's loads of different ways you can leverage it as a marketing tool in your business. Now, Susan's got to go. Link to your website. I'll sort that out. Don't worry. But tell us all about your Done For You journal service, which we've mapped out now, and it's very exciting.
It is very exciting, and I am excited to put it out there. So, like you said, I've been hiding myself away. So, as long as you have branding in place, you've got your logo, you've got your fonts, you've got a brand. Well, not necessarily a brand board, but you can put your hands on everything. And you can get them to me. Then we're looking at creating a branded journal that fits, obviously, with your brand. So spiral bound, obviously, 200 pages. Now those 200 pages are lined. You have choice of, my recommendation would be the cream paper, which is just absolutely gorgeous to write on. It's just amazing. So there's margins on there. I can page number them as well. You get front and the back insertion as well. So you can put in your own contact details. You can put links to your group. You can write a description about yourself. So essentially a page, and you get a choice of sizes as well. And I have actually had people come back to me and ask me to make them in different sizes because they want the A4 ones as well as the ones that they want to stick in their handbag. So, and then there's an option to add in quotes. So that is an extra option. So that's an add-on. So that's essentially what I do. So I design the front and the back cover. If you want quotes in it, they need to be your quotes. So you can't hoist other people's quotes, not unless you've got direct permission to use them in whatever it is that I make for you. So that's, you can't just give me a list of quotes by somebody else and want them throughout your journal. I can't do that. So the criteria really is that you must have your branding in place, really, and you've got your logo. And if you have, and it's all designed on Canva, then that's a slightly different conversation as well, because there are lots of licensing rules around Canva images. But if it's been designed by a graphic designer and then you've got the files and everything, then that's fine. I'm not saying I can't do it if it's designed in Canva, but that is a different conversation.
But for most people who've got all their logo and everything all done, they can hand it all over to you basically, and you will do it for them. You will create the journal, you'll do the design for the journal, you will do the design on the outside and the inside, so it all looks and feels great. All they need to do is give you the branding, what they want on their page to promote, well, to talk about whatever it is that did, any quotes that they want sprinkled throughout, well, they must be their own quotes. And then this is the biggie, I think. So you design it, but you also make it.
I will upload it. I preempt you there. I'm going to upload it to the platform that I use, which is print on demand. So you basically you would share a link to it, or this amazing platform, if you sign up for their emails, actually will send you a discount direct ordering code every week. I think they do.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is good. So if you're ordering bulk stock, there's bulk discount anyway, but you get extra whatever it is that week, 10, 15, sometimes it's 20% off. Which is how I order my stock, is that I order it direct.
Okay.
So I will set that all up for you, and I'll also do you a quick video taking you around the portal, how to use it, how to do your ordering. Because you need to connect your it's PayPal, so you would need to connect your PayPal account to be able to receive your royalties.
The royalties are rolling in. We didn't even mention that on a list of benefits of having one. It's like you can make money on this, right? So you can make actual cash money selling the thing.
Yeah.
As well.
And you can actually publish it globally on this platform. Now, it doesn't go into global distribution because it's spiral bound, but it does mean that anybody that happens to be on that platform. Now, I was doing a bit of research last night because I wanted to put the details of my supplier on my website, and because I think what they do is amazing. So they started in 2002, I think. And I think they've done over like 2 million. Yeah, so they've currently issued over 2 million titles. So they are, in my mind, and I've always thought this to be true, was that they're the second biggest publishing network, if you like, that does print on demand. They do different formats as well. If you should want the traditional. But they're green, they have some amazing green credentials as well, which was right up there on my list, so this was a big tick for me. So when somebody orders from this platform, basically they ship locally to over 150 countries and territories worldwide. So there's one central ordering place that then, with their clever technology, gets sent out to the nearest place where the order comes from or was being shipped to, and it will be printed and delivered there. So basically cutting right down on traveling costs, and air miles and things like that. They use FCS certified lead-free, acid-free buffered paper as well, made from wood-based pulp. So that's,
The
I don't
ethical.
know if any other places use this as well, but this really ticked my box. You know, and they've got a B Corp certificate as well, 2016, and they've moved their entire energy consumption to be 100% renewable.
Nice, good. So yeah,
So
to you
pretty
and
good values, which
important to your
really align. Yeah. And the other thing that they do that Amazon don't do, obviously they do print on demand spiral bound, but you can't integrate your Amazon and collect your customer details and
clients.
offer a better service, which you can do with these.
So with your supplier, who you spent blood, sweat, and tears and years researching and finding for us, so thanks
Yeah.
for that. You can get your customer data, so you know who's
Yes.
what. I mean, that's amazing. So you can do your own follow
Yeah.
up and all the rest of it, etc., etc.
Yeah. You'd need your own. You'd need to connect their API to your website or Shopify,
Right, but it's doable.
Shopify. Yeah, or WooCommerce or something like that. But it's really doable. And I've actually tried all of them on my website. So um,
I love
I'm
that.
now actually sticking it onto WooCommerce and gradually bringing it all in. So yeah, it's, you know, and you know, when people buy, I can tag them and I can give them better follow-up service, and you know, rather than the bog standard Amazon, parcels being shipped.
Mystery, the Amazon mystery. You don't know what's happened there. Oh, I love this. This is great. This is great. And I know there'll be people watching this that are like, okay, take my money. Where do I sign up? So again, because you're my client, this is a difficult conversation because I believe the price should be at least 3 times this. But I've agreed to allow Nikie to do this service at this price for the next 10 people max before we have another conversation. Yeah, because Nikki's just on her own journey of putting herself out there and being consistent and charging appropriately. So, Nikie, tell us how much it is for just for the bog standard. You make a journal for somebody who's got the branding in place. How much is that?
With the line version without the quotes, it's
Yeah.
the quotes is an add-on package, but
Yeah.
it's £500.
It's £500. You don't have to do anything. You give Nikie £500 in your branding, and you write that page, and then you next thing you'll get, well, the very next thing, we know, back into a bit back into Nikie does it all for you. You're just like drinking cocktails in the sun, and then you get a link, which is your shop, so you can just put that link out to your clients, to your email, to your stories, to your socials, and people can go and buy it. That's it. £500 from I haven't got a journal for my business to a do.
There is a little bit. There's an extra step there in the fact that you will need to order your own proof copy.
Yes.
So obviously you need to jump in, set up your PayPal account. You need to order your own proof copy, which will be a cost price. So there will be, you know, an extra £10, £15, whatever it is.
Honestly, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, but I am not going to allow Nikie to charge that. Once she gets inundated and gets the first 10 done, I'll be like, right, now can we start to put the price up a little bit? Because Nikie spent years perfecting, researching, designing her own journals, selling her own journals, coaching people on journaling, like being Mike's right-hand person. Like, she spent years of research and learning and invested her own time, energy, resources into learning all this stuff and actually doing it as well. She's not just decided, I'm going to create journals. She's got, I don't know if you've got any to hand, but I've seen many of Nikki's self-designed journals. And one of the things that we always say is that we should charge and do what we do for free. Well, what Nikie does in her spare time is create journals. Let's see. These are some of your new ones, aren't they? Lovely.
Yeah. So, that's fun on the camera. So that one goes with my new card deck, which has just been launched as well. So, yeah. And that one,
yes.
I don't know what else I've got to hand. Cards I was playing with this morning. Couple more. So yeah, that's a journey. So that's a coaching journal. So basically that's a whole different package completely, but it literally takes you on a full coaching journey. And then there's my 30-day gratitude and daily journal, which is my best of luck. all sorts of things. I've got a grief journal, and yeah, loads and loads more coming.
So whatever you're watching this, if you've got a specialty, then you can have a journal, basically. I was thinking about people who are like sobriety coaches or weight loss coaches or divorce coaches or like all the different types, transformational coaches, basically. And anyone else who's got products or services that you can have a journal that will fit, it will work in your business. Very exciting. So it starts at £500. It goes up from there, obviously, depending on how complex it gets and how much back and to there is. But honestly, I'm really excited to see mine. Obviously, you'll see that when it's ready. But if you want to work with Nikie, send her a message now, because I am going to force her to stop. Well, stop at 10 so you can get them all executed and delivered. But also financially, we're going to start to move the needle a bit on that minimum investment, because at the moment I think it's a little bit low, but it's fine because I'm here to do things at Nikie pace, not Helen pace, which is fine. So we're just going to do it one step at a time. So we're going to create 10 journals for my beautiful people for 500 quid-ish, depending on what you want, obviously, up and down, up from there, but not down. And then we'll renew it. So I know Susan wants to speak to you. So there's one space, and then we've got 9 more. So how can people find out about you, Nikie Piper?
You can message me on Facebook. So I'm literally search Nikie.Piper. I should pop up. It's public profile. Just drop me a message. I can share a link to a document which tells you all about it. Or you can visit my website, because it's actually there. There's if you go to the homepage, theartandsoulofjournaling.com. If you go to the homepage, scroll down just a little bit. Right in the middle is a featured section, and there's a done for you slot. Basically.
Amazing. And Clara in the comments. So Clara, Nikie, is the lovely human being who came to my house when you couldn't come. Do you remember when we had to rearrange our 2 days? Clara came in your space, and it was amazing that we were able to do it so quickly because I had it already booked off. So lots of love to Clara. Can't wait, obviously, for you to come and have your 2 days, Nikie. But Clara's interested, and I was just thinking about what Clara does about energy mapping. Would be perfect for journaling. And also I was thinking about corporate selling. What a great thing to take into meetings and leave with people when you're selling to them. Just leave it on their desk. Perfect. So as we go through this process, you know, when we get the 10 people signed up and they're working with Nikie, we're going to come up with even more millions of reasons why you should have one. But just take my word for it. You should get a journal with Nikie. She's amazing to work with. She's lovely. Heart of gold. So it's not going to mess you around, and we'll do an amazing job. We'll probably massively over deliver, but I'm in charge of keeping the boundaries firm. So you might have me to answer to. So yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
So brilliant. So Nikie and Clara, just send no, sorry, Nikie, you're Nikie. Susan and Clara, send Nikie a DM. You probably find her on my Facebook. I'll do a little post after this as well. But yeah, you got to go and send a message, and then Nikie will send you the one pager, or is it more than one pager? I don't know. But the pager information, so you can see how it all works.
Yeah.
Amazing. Right. Thank you very much, Nikie. Thanks for your time. Thanks for working on my journey. Great to see it. I know I am a bottleneck and they hold up. You're waiting for me to send some stuff to you. Right. Lots of love, and thank you very much. Thanks, Nikie.
Thank you. Bye.